Okay, we are here. We are here. Hello, friends. Ignore my fan. I don't know what's happening. It's crazy. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Happy Tuesday. I am having a strange day. My body is rebelling against me today. It's very restless, and I don't have a solution for it. So I was kind of going to talk about today what happens when you just don't wanna. I've had a lot of that feeling lately of like I just don't want to practice. I don't want to grow. I don't want to do the hard stuff. What do you do when that happens? Like I'm feeling today. Hey, Anthony, welcome. Hello, Brian, welcome. Shoma, welcome. Thank you for being here. If you have any other questions or other topics you'd like me to cover, happy to do that. But I would love to address this if you've been feeling that way too, because a lot of people are having a very busy season and things get a little overwhelming. And sometimes that can lead to just, you're feeling like you want to put your creativity on the back burner because there's just so many other things you feel like you have to do. And I totally get that. Totally feel ya. Especially today, I just don't want to do any of it. I just want to go back to bed and do nothing. Although I don't think my body would let me do that either, because I have a lot of stuck energy today. So for me, when I have those days, depending on the cause, I ask myself some questions to evaluate. What do I do next? Because the answer is not always suck it up and deal and go practice. And that will lead to feeling like singing is a chore and like you have to, and like you'll be punished if you don't because you have become a drill sergeant to yourself. I don't know what's happening. My fan, I have to get it fixed. Okay, great. Love to hear about it. It really makes a difference how you treat yourself and how you talk to yourself. Yes, because you are the one that talks to yourself most of the time. You are the reaction that you are most exposed to. You are the opinion that you're exposed the most to. Some of us don't consider the fact that our reactions to our own decisions and our own thoughts are the most abundant in our life, right? So we have to treat ourselves with the respect that we would appreciate to get from other people, bosses, co-workers, friends, romantic partners, etc. So if you're showing up on a day that has been maybe a long day at work or something, and you're feeling like, oh, I don't want to do it today. I'm tired. I can't handle it. How do you show up to yourself, right? Number one question I want you to ask is, do I need something more important than to work on my creative endeavors right now? And that is up to you. Like the hierarchy of needs or whatever, which is not really a real thing, would say that if you need sleep, that's the most important part. If you're hungry, that's the most important part, right? It's more important than singing before you eat. Go eat. Take care of your biological needs. That is the most important. If you have to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. My goodness. Give yourself that. If you only have time to do one of these things, whether it's eat or sing, eat first, right? The drill sergeant in your head is driven by you, right? So if you feel like you're not going to be happy with yourself if you don't sing today, would you rather go into a very hangry state, or would you maybe not have practiced singing this one day? How does that feel? Which one feels more important to you? So that's the first thing to get out of the way. What does my biology need right now? Because that affects your nervous system greatly. When you are dehydrated, your brain is not working at the same capacity. Your nervous system is feeling the danger of being dehydrated more than you consciously realize. It's feeling like, okay, I'm in a state of trying to conserve energy, trying to conserve water because I am dehydrated. I haven't felt thirsty yet, but your body underneath all that stuff is feeling that way. And so it's feeling a little on edge. No wonder if you go to sing that day and you're trying really hard stuff and you're like not making it, you're not feeling comfortable or safe in those notes, it could be because your body is feeling unsafe about other things, biological things, you know? So take care of yourself, eat, drink, sleep, go to the bathroom, those simple things. Not always as simple as it sounds, though. Second question I want you to ask yourself is, am I giving my voice the right environment that it needs to blossom right now? Because that's why we practice, right? We want to grow like a plant. We want to grow our voice so that it blossoms into these moments that we want to share with the world, right? Whether that's your goal or not doesn't matter. You want to grow. If you are here, you want to grow your voice. I am assuming. If you're not, cool, thanks for being here. I don't know why. But since we're looking for your voice to grow and to expand beyond its little seed, little capacity right now, we need to create that right environment. So number one, it has to have the soil to grow in, right? You have to give it time and space and permission, right? A foundation to grow in. And that is where you come in. You get to decide, okay, I'm taking this 20 minutes every day at 5 o'clock to sing. That's your soil. Great. If 5 o'clock comes and you're like, I can't swing this today, I am exhausted, I need to eat, blah, 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 that takes over. And that is understandable. The only person that is going to yell at you is you, right? Especially if I'm your vocal coach, I'm never going to yell at you for eating and sleeping instead of singing. Great. That's very important. I don't want you to pass out. So it really is a matter of you checking in with your body more than you may think you need to. And then after that, it's a matter of, okay, what would be the most beneficial for me to practice right now? Do I need to really sit down for a whole hour and belt my butt off? Maybe it's not that kind of day. Maybe that is not the only iteration of practice that is good and acceptable. Maybe we tweak things so that whatever capacity you do have is feeling more accessible. Because when you go past your capacity, you take away from something else, right? If you're staying up late to practice, you're taking away from your sleep time. If you're skipping a meal, you're taking away from your nourishment, right? If you are singing while you are trying to do something else, like brushing your teeth or something, you're not fully focused on brushing your teeth. And that's okay. However, I think the most important thing that I always ask myself is, am I avoiding this because I don't feel like what I have the capacity or time to do is enough? I'll say that again. Am I avoiding doing this because I don't feel like what I have time or capacity to do is enough, based on my own rubric of enough? If that answer is yes, then I have some things to look at. Why don't I feel like a 10-minute vocal practice is enough? Right? Can I change how I view that, how I perceive if what I'm doing is enough or not? If the answer to that is no, if I'm really actually tired, if I'm not just avoiding it because I don't feel like it's going to be good enough, and I really actually feel like I am not able to give my voice the environment that it needs, soil, water, literal water, it's not metaphorical water in this, it's actual water, and the space to feel safe enough to bloom, which is what your nervous system is doing. So if you've had a long day, if you're feeling tired and a little on edge, you're like, oh man, I really got to practice, but I don't wanna. Ask yourself, what do I need first? Do I need sleep first? Do I need food first? Do I have the capacity to do this? Am I just avoiding it because I don't feel like I'm going to do enough? Then, if you do feel like you have some space and some time to lean in, just make sure your nervous system is your first priority, right? Because if your nervous system is on edge, it's on red alert, it's like something is wrong here, I have to be safe first and foremost, then you're not fully present with yourself, and you're going to end up singing, and you're going to end up pushing too hard and being like, why can't I hit those notes? The goal is not to become regulated constantly, but I do want you to know what your nervous system is doing and unshame what your nervous system is doing, right? And that is why the first thing I ask you is, does your biological body need something in this moment? Because that is automatically going to remind your nervous system that you are safe, that you are a trustworthy person, that you have integrity with yourself, that you are going to take care of your own needs. Because when you don't do that, it starts to distrust you. And building trust with ourselves is like, 70% of singing. I talk about trusting yourself all day long. So you have to build trust with yourself, not just in singing, in all other parts of your life. You have to start trusting yourself to put gas in your car when it needs it. Otherwise, you're not a trustworthy adult to yourself. You have to start trusting yourself to feed yourself when you're hungry. Otherwise, your body's going to be like freaking out because it doesn't know where its next meal is going to come from, because you haven't shown it that you are the one to take over and take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Same thing when you're singing. If you keep showing yourself that you're just going to push through and over effort and just screw out that high note, your body's going to remember that and being like, oh, I am not trusting my own feelings over what I feel like I need to sing in this moment. So then you become the untrustworthy adult in your life. Right? You become the strict voice teacher that's pushing you to hustle and go and force high notes out when you haven't figured out the best way to do that for your body, especially when you're already tired that day and your nervous system's already on red alert and dysregulated. Like, you have to start looking at what your nervous system is doing. I'm not asking you to regulate before singing, because that's not always possible. But it's important to at least look and know and acknowledge what's happening. And if you decide in that moment, like, yes, what I would like right now, and I have time to do it, is to use my tools, muscle engagement, giving yourself this hug, tapping, breathing, whatever you need right now. I want to use my tools in order to come back to my safe and social, my more regulated state. If you're in the middle of something, if you're about to go on stage, we don't always have time to do that. So sometimes it means just saying, okay, I acknowledge I'm slightly dysregulated, and I'm not going to let it derail me. I'm going to go out there and expect shakiness. I'm going to expect fear. I'm going to expect sweat. I'm going to expect all the things that always show up when I'm slightly dysregulated, when I'm in fight or flight. And I'm not going to tell myself that's a problem, because it's just your biology doing your biological thing. There's nothing to shame here. So keep that in mind as you're doing this. If you have a day where you come to practice or even a performance and you're like, I don't wanna, there's a hierarchy that you have to decide, right? You don't have to follow the pyramid of Maslow or whatever. There's a whole, I've looked into that. I was watching a whole video about that. It's fascinating. Not helpful in the long term. But what you need, only you can know, right? Sometimes co-regulation is the solve for all of this, right? If you have the want to practice and you're having I don't want a day and you have a choir practice to go to, sometimes you don't want to go, and then you get there and you're like, oh, this is really nice. because all these other people are here singing with me and it's great. Or you have a group session with our vocal magic program and you're like, okay, yes, I see these other people who want to hear me sing, who I trust, who I feel safe with. And that can help come back to a little more regulated state. So important things to look at when you're having an I don't want a day. Totally understandable, totally valid. Take care of you first. Ask yourself, is this really the best thing for me right now? Is this going to push me over the edge? And what do I have capacity for, right? I don't need to do it in a whole hour just because somewhere in my brain it's telling me, my drill sergeant gremlin is telling me that that's not enough. An hour is way enough. It's also not necessary. 15 minutes is enough of practice every day if you do it well. You know, something I always talk about also is my 5-5-5 practice, which I always need to hear myself. And I think it's really important, even if you've heard it before, to hear it again. Because 15 minutes, even split up into 3 parts of 5, is better than 0 practice time. So even if you're having an I don't want a day, can you find 5 minutes to just warm up? Literally, that's all it is. 5 minutes, warm up. That's it. You don't even have to do all the warm-ups. You know, my warm-up videos are 15 minutes long. You don't have to do that whole thing. Just do 5 minutes of it. Do 1 to 2 small exercises that feel like what you need in that moment. That's the first 5 minutes. If you have something to do, that's great. Then you can come back later and do your second 5 minutes, which is detailed 1 skill practice. That means not singing the whole song, because that will take the whole 5 minutes and you haven't done any detail work. Pick 1 little spot that you're struggling with. Maybe it's an interval. Find the best feeling place for both of those notes and really sink into that. Do it 20 times, 40 times, so that you really settle into those moments. Then put it back in context. That's 5 minutes. That's all it is. Set a timer. Really, you'll be surprised how fast 5 minutes goes. And then the last 5 minutes, very important, is in that same section of this song, or in this song in general, you got to play. So come at it from a place of, oh, I'm just doing karaoke. I'm playing a character singing this song. I'm just letting loose, right? You're taking all the pressure of being perfect and pretty and nailing that thing that you just worked on off. Taking it off. And you're saying, how can I do this messy? How can I sing this a little bit loose, a little bit easy? How can I sing this imperfectly? That will solidify in your brain the trust in yourself that singing is actually fun. Singing work is fun, because when you just stop at the practice, at the detailed skill practice, you're like, ooh, that was really frustrating. And I got it by the end, but it was not fun. And then the play is the thing to cement in your nervous system that it can be fun and it can be a thing that you want to do again, because you got to play and you get to laugh with yourself and you get to enjoy and take the pressure off. That's how we solidify the safety and the want to do it again in our bodies, that last 5 minutes. So don't skimp on that last 5 minutes, even though it feels dumb. Do it anyway. Play. Be a silly person. Pretend like you're, singing to a child, and be as silly as you can. There you go. That's my best recommendations for what to do when you're having an I don't want a day. Let me know if any of that is resonating with you, if that feels correct, if that feels like what you want to do. Have you had I don't want a days recently? What did you choose to do instead? Let me know. Even if you're watching the replay, tell me in the comments. How to get over voice insecurities for those who are not singers. Well, I know you don't want to hear this, but everybody is a singer. Everybody can sing. Even if it's not on pitch, you can still sing. I have to know more about what these insecurities are. Where are they coming from? I would recommend journaling with yourself. I would ask yourself these 2 questions. I would say, number 1, what voice do I hear when I'm feeling this way? What is that voice saying? What's its catchphrase, right? What is this person? And what are they saying? Are they telling you your voice is weird? Are they telling you you can't go sing high enough? Or you can't speak with authority. There's no power there, etc. What is the catchphrase that is telling you? And number 2, where does this feel familiar in your life? Now, I'm not a therapist, so I don't want to know all these things. This is important for you to know, so you can notice where these things are coming from, and therefore be more aware of when it shows up, that it is not you. That voice is not coming from inside of you. It's coming from many, many, many years of other people's opinions about your voice, right? So the gremlin, usually the voice that is speaking when you have these insecurities, like, oh man, that didn't sound good at all. I didn't like how that sounded. It sounded gross, right? That's a gremlin voice to me, because it's very judgmental. It's very black and white. It's very like, you're bad at this and I think you shouldn't do it anymore. That's the voice that we hear, right? So if you have that voice and it shows up, write it down, journal about it. What is it saying? Where is it coming from? Where does it sound familiar from other places in your voice? And this is not to shame any of those people. They were just doing the best they could with what they know how. But now you get to see that it is not coming from inside of you. It is not a real thought that you have to give weight to. It is somebody else's opinion. And other people's opinions, as we know, are based on all of their life experiences, which has nothing to do with you. So, do we have to believe that voice? Absolutely not. So, work on knowing what your gremlin is, who your gremlin is, separating from that voice as much as you can. If you have more insecurities, do it again for another catchphrase that your gremlin shows up. Like if you have stage fright, if you get really nervous every time you go on stage, notice what that gremlin voice is saying. Is it saying you're going to do a bad job, you're going to mess up, you're going to forget the words? I feel that. I have that gremlin. Your job is to be like, okay, thank you, gremlin, for stepping in. Try and keep me safe here. I appreciate that that's your job. Also, I don't have to listen to you because you're a bully. Also, like, your job is to just like shove yourself in front of me and keep me from taking any risks ever. And that's not how we grow, right? If you're here, you want to grow. Your gremlin's job is to keep you from growing, because that is a scary place to be. It's a place that it doesn't know. Any place it doesn't know that you haven't been before is scary. So the fact that you're trying to grow is lethal to your gremlin, right? It's totally freaked out that you are trying to grow. And it is yelling louder every time you take another step outside your comfort zone. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to listen to all of those voices. Separate and say, thank you, I appreciate you, try to keep me safe, goodbye. Right? Yeah, so it's okay that you tried changing your voice, because honestly, you probably learned a lot from every time you tried to change your voice. You learned what else your voice could do that it couldn't before. You are supposed to sound like how you sound when you are talking to yourself in your kitchen. You're supposed to sound like you would talk when you talk to your best friends. There's no other supposed to. Like, you can sound like anybody if you want to. You could go record a whole album of songs that you sound exactly like Celine Dion, and that would still be you because it's coming out of your own voice. That's not a bad thing. Imitation is great. Imitation is how we learn to speak and sing. So don't knock all of the imitation that you have done. That got you to where you are now, and it's all important. It's all good. So don't shy away from more imitation when you're trying to find what feels right for you. But your guiding light, I think, try it being how you feel when you're the most comfortable, how you sound when you're the most comfortable. Ask your friends, what do they think you sound like? What's your real voice to them? And also, you can have multiple real voices, multiple supposed to sound like voices. Like, I have many voices inside of me. I have a girly voice, oh my god, and I have my serious voice. I have my vocal fry voice. I have my customer service voice. You can sound like anything. That's the beauty of the human voice. So embrace that. Hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to go. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your lovely self. Hi, Steph. Sorry, I forgot to say hi. And Lash Tech Goat, I appreciate you. Thank you for just showing up for yourself. If you're having an I don't want a day, lean into it. Take a rest if you need a rest. Your voice journey will be there tomorrow. Your vocal growth is always doing its thing underneath the surface anyway. So take time for yourself if you need to. And then remember the 5-5-5 when you are practicing. It doesn't have to be so tedious. It doesn't have to be so long. It can be quick, little bite-sized moments. 3 times 5, that's all you need. All right, have a lovely day, everyone. I appreciate you being here. And you can, if you're watching this as a replay, let me know what landed for you. Let me know what you're going to work on, what questions you're going to start asking yourself as you're practicing. Take care of yourself. Okay, love you, bye. Boop.